Hey there, and welcome to my lazy review of the new film Saw X, which is the 10th film in the Saw franchise. And truth be told, I wasn't even sure they would make any more because, Jigsaw was the last one, and, obviously Saw died a long time ago, but you know what? They just keep pumping them out, so I'll keep watching them. And just real quick, I have a certain, soft spot for the Saw films. I understand, like any franchise, there are certain highs and there's certain lows. This franchise damn sure has some lows, but I was intrigued by the trailer because they brought back Tobin Bell, John Kramer, Jigsaw himself. And if you're unsure about the continuity, I guess this takes place between Saw 1 and Saw 2. So it's kind of like Saw 1.5, but all right, let's talk about it. But let's see, I'm trying something different out as I do with all my reviews. I have this stuff called Parmesan here. It's apple brandy, and let's see if the stuff is any good. And fresh out the freezer, all right? Before I pour this, though, I have three questions, which, damn, this stuff is not going to come out. And let's see. It's beating me. Got it. All right. I have three questions which I ask every single video. Number one, did I like the film? How do I feel about it? Number two, would I recommend that you see this film? And number three, but most importantly, do I think this movie is worth your hard-earned time and money? But before we ask that, I'm going to pour this and talk about Saw X, The Return of Jigsaw Tobin Bell. Okay, get ready for a drum roll, and let's see this Paul Masson apple brandy, how it tastes. You ready? Pretty good.
It tastes so good.
It has been 6 years since the last Saw film, so does John Kramer and Tobin Bell still have it after all these years? Let's sit back, enjoy my intro, and find out. You ready? Stuff is pretty good. Okay, now what's going on with Saw X? Now, as I said, if you look at the promos, this takes place after Saw 1, but before Saw 2. And the character of John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, he is dying of this terminal brain condition, and like many people, he doesn't want to give up on hope. The guy's sitting there and doing his research, he's looking online, trying to find some way to cure himself. But as you can imagine, things aren't going that well. So what he does is he joins this emotional support group, and it's for people that everybody is dying from different conditions, okay? Some time does pass by, and one of the guys that was terminal, he sees him, the guy's smiling, he's out there drinking coffee, and of course, John is intrigued, and he's like, what happened? What's going on with you? He tells John about this super secret program, and of course, this program isn't legal and it isn't sanctioned in America. So what he tells John is, email these people. You might have to do some traveling. It isn't on the up and up, but look, they cured me. It's experimental. And of course, most of us, average everyday people, we can smell bullshit.
Bullshit.
However, John is dying and the man is desperate. So of course he contacts these people, and of course they contact him back and basically guarantee him the cure. So he travels down and everything seems on the up and up. But some time passes by and John quickly discovers that these people were lying to him. And now John is on this big revenge tale to find every single person involved that lied to him and robbed him of his money. And when he finds every one of these people, all I kept thinking was one thing.
You're all going to die.
And that's pretty much it, boys and girls. That's the first half of the film, and the last half is a typical Saw film where these people are inside these jigsaw traps, and now, will some of them make it or some of them die? That's all I can say. Find out for yourself, all right? Now, let's get down to my three questions. Number one off the bat is, did I like this film? And truth be told, I did like it and I did enjoy it as somebody who did like the earlier Jigsaw or Saw movies. Now, as it's been talked about, I think this film, if you go back and watch Saw 1, then watch this one, then watch Saw 2, 3, and 4, etc., it would fit with that chronological time. So it's one of the things where, Jigsaw is an interesting character, right? It's like John Kramer, he has this very strange balance of good and evil, and I've never taken it as the character of John Kramer is specifically evil, because a wise man once said that good and evil is a point of view.
Good as a point of view, anyway.
Now, with number two of would I recommend that you see this film, let's be honest, guys, it's a franchise film. I'm not going to be like, hey, listen, if you hated the Saw films, Saw 10 or Saw X is the one to get you into this franchise. If you didn't like any of the Saw films, simply put, skip this one. Now, if you're someone like me who does like the Saw films for what they are, I would say that this is a very good entry into the Saw series. Now, as I've said before, some people felt like the sequels did start kind of falling off, but the main reason was I think that the biggest mistake that they made was killing off John Kramer eventually into the saga because some of the traps later on they started getting like too elaborate and too over the top, and also his I guess predecessors they were like misconstruing his messaging and they were making the traps impossible to escape. John Kramer as a character, especially in this film, he does have a code. Every single one of these traps, and some of them are more harder and more gruesome than others, but every single one of these traps is escapable. And it's this moral question that John and the audience and the characters have always asked themselves of if you want to live, what are you willing to do? I mean, he gives a little speech in this film where he says that, hey, listen, bones can be healed, broken bones, and also skin can be grafted. And not to spoil too much because it was in the trailers, but the character of Amanda is back. And this does lead into later on with the second and third Saw films where John again has his code and he's telling Amanda that everybody, no matter how bad you are, no matter how much horrible stuff you've done, they do deserve a second chance. Amanda feels like some of these people, they don't deserve a second chance, and John is like, well, I give you a second chance, and look what happened. All right. So down to number three of do I think this movie is worth your money? Honestly, I think this is a good, for Saw fans, a very good matinee film. And if you want to rent it later on, go ahead and rent it. I wouldn't rush out into the theater and seeing it. It doesn't add anything new to the Saw franchise because it's a prequel-ish type movie, but it doesn't hurt the franchise neither. And yeah, that's all I can say, guys.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
In the end, how would I rate Saw X? I think that in terms of a franchise film, that simply put, Saw 10 is a worthy sequel. As I said, if you didn't like one, you won't like this one. I think this is a good entry into the Saw franchise, and truth be told, if they find some weird way to keep bringing Tobin Bell and John Kramer back, I'll keep watching them all for how insane but kind of thoughtful that each film in the franchise can be sometimes, alright? So, as I always do, I have to check my friggin' watch. I'm always low on time. Let me drink this stuff, grab Bender, and yeah, I'll see you later. Cheers.
This calls for a drink.
Mm, pretty good. Oh yeah, catchphrase.
It's called a catchphrase.
I have to head back to work.